Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you a spoiler-free review and a spoil-filled discussion of City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare. So without any further ado, let's get into the video. If you've not read City of Bones before, don't worry because I'm not going to spoil that book in any way for you. But the first 4 to 5 minutes of this video will only be spoiler-free, and after that I'll be jumping into the spoilers, during which I'll be telling that I'm going to get into the spoilers. So if you don't want spoilers, you can stop watching there, or if you don't care and if you just want to know the story, you're very much welcome to watch the video. First, let's see something about the plot of this book. Now, City of Ashes actually starts not more than a week after the end of City of Bones, so there's not that much of a time gap. It's just happening continuously. The second book actually starts from where the first book left out, and it's really good in that sense because we don't have a lot of time gap. There's not many things to figure out as well. The main premise of the book is that the Shadowhunters are now trying to control Valentine from acquiring all the mortal instruments, because if he gets all the mortal instruments, he'll be able to do certain things which he's planning to do, and it's not good for anyone in the entire world. And also, apart from just Valentine as a plot, we also have some of the relationship issues which Clary faces. They are so good to read about. They are so interesting. At times they are uncomfortable, but that's what makes this book very good in every sense. And also, apart from Clary, we also see Jocelyn, who's in the same state. She starts in the same state as she was in the end of the first book, and it's also a bit good. We see the feelings of Clary magnified in a great extent. Not just Clary, but many of the characters, they play very pivotal roles throughout the story. And also, mostly we focused on Clary and Jace alone in the first book, but in the second book we focus on all the characters. The scope for the characters' performance just widens, and it's so good in every sense. Also, we get the Lightwoods and the Clave a lot in this book, who make the story even more interesting and even more complex in any sense. And also, another major thing which I liked about the plot of the second book is that it takes a huge dark turn in the series, and I've read the series already, so I know that it's going to be darker as each and every book progresses. But I should say that for City of Bones, this one's like a very strong sequel. Moving on to the characters, there are these three main characters of the story who undergo like excellent development in this book. And the first one that I like to talk about is Jace. I should say that while reading the series for the first time, I didn't like Jace for like a maximum part of the series, but I should say after reading City of Ashes, I'm liking Jace a lot. Okay, I can easily say that in City of Ashes, Jace is my most favorite character of all, because I didn't experience all these things about that he's going through while I read it for the first time, but on the reread, it was just awesome. The next one is Alec. Okay, Alec came out like a big surprise for me, because I knew that Simon was having this incredible transformation in the second book while I read it for the first time, but this time I was able to see how much Alec is built up in the second book itself, and it just made me understand his character a lot more. Simon, I knew that Simon was going to very hard things and difficult things are going to happen to Simon in this book, and they are like those milestones in Simon's character, and they are so good to read for the second time as well. Apart from these three characters, some of the two of the other main characters who went a bit of more development are Clary and Isabel. I know that Isabel is going to develop a lot more, because she, Magnus and Simon are my most favorites. I know that Isabel doesn't develop so quick, but when she does it, she's going to be excellent. I know that. And I also, after having read the series already, I know what all Isabel is going through in her mind and how much she is carrying load on herself. It was so awesome to read with all those thoughts about Isabel in this book. And also, apart from just these characters, Maya, Luke, and the Lightwoods, they were awesome. Okay, be ready, guys. If you're going to read City of Ashes, when the Lightwoods come into scene, each and every chapter with the Lightwoods is just going to be awesome. There's the specific scene with the Lightwoods in this book which I've just highlighted entirely, and I just love that scene a lot. Now, moving on to the pacing of this book, I can say that the pacing of City of Ashes is very much better compared to City of Bones, because in City of Bones we don't have a lot of plot going on. Okay, we just get introduced to this enormous world of Shadowhunters, and it's just the world building. A maximum part of the first book is just focused towards world building, so at times there's a lot of info dumping and it becomes boring at times. But in this one, there is info dumping in this one also, but it is done in such a way that you don't get bored. Okay, you just learn about the world, but you just don't feel like you're just fed information. It doesn't feel like that. It was very well paced in that way for me. Moving on to the world building aspect, just as I said before, in the plot element itself, the story as an entire itself takes a really a darker shade when it comes to City of Ashes, and it was very good in that sense. Also, we see that most of the scenes occurring in City of Ashes, over 80% of the scenes occurring in this book actually take place during the night time. Okay, it's completely dark, and it just sets up the mood for the book, and it just shows the shadow world in a brighter way in the darkness, and it was just excellent to read about. So overall, I rated City of Ashes a total of 5 stars. So if you've not read the books, and if you do not want spoilers, please do step out, because from now on I'm going to discuss spoilers. Before getting into the spoilers, I want to let you know how much I loved reading this book, and you can just see, okay, this is City of Bones, and see the annotations on this one. This is City of Ashes, see the annotations on this one. This one's actually 100 pages over City of Ashes, but there was not a lot going on here. But just see here how much I annotated, because there were a lot of stuff going on, and I just love the book as a whole. So let's get into the discussion right now. Okay, now I'm going to talk about all the main 6 characters, okay, one by one, in the order of priority of how important they are to the story and how their arc has progressed throughout. So if you're a fan of any of the 6 main characters and also some of the side characters, do stick on, because I have a lot to discuss. First, let's talk about Clary. I like to call her Clary Frey rather than Clarissa Morgenstern or Clarissa Fairchild, because Clary Frey just sounds a bit better for me. Though the other full name Clarissa sounds more authentic, I like Clary Frey because Clary is the one who's she's telling the story to us in kind of a way, and I just liked it a lot. Now, the things about Clary which I liked in this one are she's so sad and she's so vulnerable throughout the second book. Okay, in the first book we see that she's put into this huge world. She has to figure out things on her own. She finds about this father whom she never knew that she had, and he's such a huge ass, and she has a lot of things going on in her life already. And what happens all of a sudden is that she has her mother in coma, and also by the end of the first book she discovers that she has been in love with her brother. She has kissed her brother, and both she and Jace, who's her brother right now, they have to figure stuff through, and it is it's so sad to read about her, and it's so depressing being inside Clary's head, because a 16-year-old put into this whirlpool of emotions, and she has to find her way through it and out of it. It's just it's sick as well as so beautiful to read about. Okay, the scenes in which the scenes that she has with Jace, they are like forbidden love. That's the simplest way to say. It's like Jaime and Cersei's love. Though it looks good, it's not at all healthy. In the same way, the love is portrayed in this one also. And I liked Clary a lot more in this book than book 1, because in book 1 she was like totally annoying most of the time, but in this one she is annoying, but she's not annoying to such an extent. And also we get like different facets of Clary's character. Okay, she's not just a person who always takes rash decisions. She cares a lot about the people whom she loves. She has started to have this family kind of a connection with Jace, Alec, Isabel, Max, and Simon has been her family throughout her life, and she cares about Simon a lot more. And also the relationship struggles that she faces in this book are so real to read about. And if there's a person who's experiencing certain things like her, I think Clary handles them and processes them in the proper way. And towards the end, when she feels so vulnerable and so alone, Jace comes there, and the thing that Clary wants to happen the least is that Jace not wanting to talk with her and not wanting to be with her. It just happens in the end, and she just takes it. Okay, she doesn't shun it out, she doesn't guard herself, she accepts what's coming to her, and it's so strong of Clary in that way. I thought that she was just a stupid character, but I must say Clary Frey is such a strong character in book 2, and also she was very good in many instances. She proves her intellect while she figures out the meanings for what the fairy queen or the Seelie queen says. It was just awesome to read all those stuff about Clary, because I thought that Clary was just a stupid character, but she's not just stupid. Okay, she is stupid, but she's also vulnerable and strong at the same time. The next important character that I'd like to discuss about is Jace, or Jonathan Morgenstern in this one. Okay, as much tough it is for Clary to handle that Jace is her brother, it is even more difficult for Jace to handle that Clary is his sister. And he even tells Clary in this one that he doesn't care what anyone else thinks. if they love each other, they just love each other. It's like that, okay. And he's been actually he's in love with his sister in this book. That is not such a great thing, okay. It is not at all a good thing to, how to say, it's not a good thing to read about or write. But beyond every other thing, we can see that how to say, certain rays of hope in Jace's mind that Clary will accept him. It was so beautiful to read. And the first book, I was thinking that Jace is such a self-centered character. He thinks about him a lot, and he just likes being himself and doesn't care a lot about others. But in this book, it just how to say, it's like turning Jace's character upon its head and showing that you thought this is just how to say, Jace is just as much, but he's a lot more than that. I know that Jace develops in a great way also towards the end of the series. I didn't like him for like most part of the series, for like 3 or 4 books while I read it for the first time. But I honestly tell you guys, I didn't expect that Jace would be my most favorite character in this book especially, and he just proved me totally wrong. And his character development is something which is so beautiful to read, okay. He has this very strong exterior of a soldier, and behind that there's this vulnerable abused childhood of Jace, and abused child who's within Jace, who peeks out many times. And while Maris turns him down, okay, Maris also doesn't do that out of spite or out of anything. She has this parental affection towards him, but she has to do certain things in order to protect him from the glaive. And when Maris turns him down, Jace just goes to Luke, okay. He how to say, he considers Luke as a parent because Luke is like a parent for Clary, hence he's a parent for him too. He just turns to Luke, and reading those scenes with Jace and Luke together, sharing this kind of parental bond, was so beautiful. Also, during the time when he meets Valentine and he turns to Valentine for support, even then we can see that vulnerable part of Jace which wants to go to Valentine. It struggles that he's not a good person, he cannot go and join with Valentine. All those things were so beautifully written. Actually, the best sequence of Jace which I loved the most was with Alec and with Luke, okay. When Alec actually reveals his plan to Jace and tells him what all he has done, okay, actually why he has done certain stuff in order to how to say, put a demeanor out there. That Jalek, it was just so beautiful to read about. That parabatai bond that they shared, it was just so beautiful. I didn't expect this partnership between Jace and Luke to look so great, okay. When they get into the ship, they both fight side by side, Jace and Luke, and it was just awesome, okay. They are like these guardian angels for Clary, and they are fighting their way through into the boat in order to defeat Valentine. And it was like, how to say, it was like a whirlpool of emotions as well as a lot of fun to read. The next important character is Simon, okay. He's like one of my top 3 favorite characters in the whole series when I read it for the first time, and he's proving to be one of my most favorites even now, because Simon's the only person which we readers can connect with when we are reading the series, because he's the one who's actually a mundane, he's the one who's actually a human. But in this book, even that connection of Forrest with the Shadowhunter universe, it just gets cut off, because Simon turns into a vampire due to biting Raphael. And it's like so beautiful, okay, in every sense. There's this scene in which Simon needs to be buried in order to be reborn into a vampire. When he when he is reborn, the thoughts that go inside Clary's mind, those are the things that we actually get as readers to experience. There's this specific paragraph in which Clary feels about Simon being a vegetarian since he was a kid, and he doesn't even drink milk which is not organic. While reading that paragraph, I was not able to control my emotions. Actually, tears came to my eyes, and it was so beautiful to read, okay. It was so painful yet so beautiful. And also the Sealy Code scene in which the Sealy Queen tricks Clary and Jace to kiss each other in order to let Clary out. The emotions that Simon experiences at that point, awesome. And also towards the end of the book, in the epilogue, what happens is Simon can understand that Clary and Jace are brother sister, yet Clary has these feelings for Jace, which he is not obviously able to hide. So Simon doesn't he doesn't try to pull Clary out of the relationship. He just takes a back seat and lets Clary decide what she wants. And also there's this certain part of Simon's character which I didn't like that much, because he just goes on saying Clary as his girlfriend, because for the first time when he sees Maya, he says to Maya that Clary is his best friend, and just on the next time when he's addressing Clary to some other person, he just says that she's his girlfriend. Okay, he doesn't even care to ask for Clary's consent. And there's also this line that Clary says that even she doesn't know what she is. That made me feel a lot for Clary and Simon's relationship, because that friendship, it means a lot to many people, and we didn't want that to be butchered with that single line. Next one is Alec Lightwood. After Jace, Alec was the one who surprised me the most in book 2, because I knew that Alec was having this huge moment in book 3, and henceforth after that he's going to develop in a great way, but I didn't expect that Alec started developing to such a great extent in book 2 itself. I must say that without the decision that Alec takes and certain things that he does, a major portion of the second half of the book would not have happened smoothly or accordingly at all, because the decision that he takes in order to trick the Inquisitor to trust him that he's on their side and helping Jace from the other side, it was so great. He knows that Isabel will not accept that, and he doesn't even reveal the plan to her, and he's just keeping it all within himself and trying to make the best that he can to help his family, especially Jace, to get out of the institute. And it was so beautiful to read. And also while reading the first book, I had this thought throughout, which is that of all the Shadowhunters in the main team that we see in the book, Alec is the eldest. Okay, he's 18, he's technically an adult Shadowhunter, and the rest others are not. Okay, they are just 16, hence they are not adults technically. So there are certain things that Alec can do which these people can't because of their age, probably. And also I thought that he's the eldest, so sometimes he has to be bossy, he has to take control of these other people, and he has to guide them, and he doesn't need to leave Jace do whatever he wants, because he's his parrot eye. Okay, they share this connection, so obviously he can talk Jace into doing certain stuff. But why doesn't he do that? I was thinking that throughout. And also while reading the second book, there's this line which Isabel says that anyone can't make Jace do anything, and it makes obvious sense. Okay, if Alec had revealed the plan to Jace, it was I'm sure that it would have collapsed and it would not have happened at all. I liked that way in which Alec took things into his hand and just made the plan progress and helped things to conclude in the way they wanted to, and it was very good to read that part of the story in a great way. Also the relationship of Alec and Magnus, okay, that was so beautifully conveyed. Yet still Alec is not ready to accept and say in a public way that he's in a relationship with Magnus and he's dating Magnus. Yet that's this push and pull of emotions, because he's still in love with Jace. Also he loves Magnus, but he's not sure what to do right now, and it was so beautiful to read that one. Moving on to another one of my most favorite characters throughout the series, it's Isabel Lightwood, Izzy. Okay, Izzy is like the perfect version of a female. Okay, it's not like this is how a female needs to be, but I can say that this is how a person needs to be. Okay, they have to own themselves. That's the main thing when I consider to being a person, and Isabel Lightwood does that to the fullest. Okay, she's like the perfect sister, she's the most loyal person, she's the strongest person throughout the series. I can like blindly say that Isabel is the strongest of all the Shadowhunters ever. Okay, and she's also the best in every sense. Okay, because she's just great in every sense. I just love Isabel's character that much. Now especially the loyalty part, okay, where she is so loyal to Jace that when Alec doesn't reveal the plan and he's acting like he's on the side of the clave, Izzy actually doesn't even care to talk to him. Okay, it is that great. And when he tries to break into her room, she uses her whip and pulls him down, and it was such an epic scene. Okay, I can just visualize Isabel doing that. There's no other way that Izzy would react even to Alec after he's done such a bad thing, or when she thinks that he's done such a bad thing. It was so great to read about. Also, in the show, the Shadowhunter show, the relationship between Isabel and Maris, it was not shown properly. Okay, Maris is such a loving parent. She was just shown as a mean, abusive parent, if you ask me, in the show. But in this one, she's not at all like that. Okay, the relationship between Isabel and Maris, it's just great. Also, the relationship between Isabel and Max, it's so beautiful to read about. Also, the relationship between Isabel and Simon, it's just hinted. Okay, while Simon is trying to be given birth again as a vampire, Isabel doesn't think that it's a good idea, because she doesn't want him to suffer all the things that he's going to once he becomes a downworlder. And I like that slice of Isabel's character a lot. Also, she just talks out her mind always. Okay, when Max asks whom Magnus is, she just goes on and tells Max with Alec by her side that he's a warlock, he's a sexy warlock. She just says it just like that to a kid. Okay, and also when Valentine comes as a projection and he's trying to make this deal with Imogen and Maris, Alec and Izzy just get into the room, and when Izzy sees Valentine saying such bad stuff about Jace, she just lashes out and she's just trying to go and fight his projection. Okay, she's not even frightened even to a little bit. Alec tries to protect her, but she's not at all frightened even to a small extent. She goes on calling him words. Okay, I don't usually swear on this channel, but it's okay, it's Isabel's words, not mine. She actually calls Valentine a bastard and a dickhead. Okay, that's actually how Isabel would react, and I just love that thing about her. Also, there are certain things which are going inside Isabel's mind, which are like hinted here and there throughout the second book. They are not at all revealed till later in the series, but when you get to those instances, you'll be able to understand how layered and how strong and beautiful a character Isabel Lightwood is. Moving on to the last main character, who's like one of my all-time favorite characters. Okay, he's not even just my top favorite in the series, but also the characters as a whole, and I'm talking about Magnus Bane. Okay, the 300-year-old High Warlock of Brooklyn. He's like the sassiest character that I've ever read about. He's very kinky. Okay, and he's so straightforward. He just speaks out what he thinks. Okay, there's this first scene in which Magnus occurs in the story where Alec actually has the key to Magnus' apartment. Okay, we don't have we don't need anything more to establish the relationship between Malik rather than that scene. And when they get to Magnus's house, Magnus is not at all subtle. Okay, when it comes to expressing his feelings, he just when Alec, Clary, and Simon get into his house, he just welcomes them saying, "Alec, my darling," and Clary and Rat Boy. He calls them just like that in that order, and it has been ingrained into my brain to such an extent that it was awesome. Okay, Magnus is such a great character. He's so wise. He's so powerful. He's so admirable in every way. Okay, he's so protective of Alec. He knows that Alec is not he's not comfortable enough to come out yet, but when they try to use Clary's fearless rune on him, Magnus knows that Alec is not ready yet, and he just uses his magic and makes the power of the rune disappear. Otherwise, it would have become a kind of a huge issue for Alec in the second book itself. It showed how protective Magnus was towards Alec, and it was just so beautiful, and I liked that a lot. Apart from all the main characters, some of the other specifically side characters who are also main to the entire arc of the story, whom I loved a lot, are Maya. Okay, when we get to know Maya's backstory, both her family's backstory as well as her backstory from her love life, it was so painful, yet it was so easily visualizable. It felt so real. Okay, how a person can be turned into something which they are not at all into, and she's a book nerd. Okay, Maya's a book nerd, which was so beautiful to read about. And also Luke. Okay, we get a lot more backstory from Luke's side, how he is in love with Jocelyn still, how he offered to marry her yet she didn't want to at that time, and how even now he is okay with marrying her. Also, apart from these two other people, the Lightwoods as a family, they are awesome. Okay, Robert and Maris are superb. Max is another cutie pie. You have to pay a lot of more attention to Max, because there are things that are going to happen due to Max in the future books. They are just going to be epic in every sense, believe me. And also Maris Lightwood, she is the best Lightwood if you ask me, after Isabel obviously, because we can actually see what Maris goes through as a mom while she's turning down Jace, because she cannot tell Jace that she's turning him down because she needs to protect him, but that's her pure intention. She is turning down Jace because she wants to protect him. She doesn't want him to be in the institute when the clave comes, and that's the best way that she can protect Jace. Hence she banishes him out of the institute. This internal struggle that Maris faces throughout while trying to turn down Jace, it's just so painful and so realistic to read about. I can actually visualize Maris going through that pain in her mind while she's doing all this stuff. If someone thinks that Maris is not a good mom, I can like slap on a bench and say that Maris is the best mother character in the entire series. there are certain things that are going to happen to Maris's character in the future books, which might show some grey shades of her, but I do think that Maris is the best mother character throughout the series. Okay, that's all for today, and if you think that this video was so long for a book review, you're obviously correct, because I just wanted to discuss a lot of things in detail and share my opinions on this book. And if you have read this book, do let your opinions in the comments below, because I'd like to chat a lot with people who have read the books. And that's it. If you did enjoy watching the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel, because I publish new videos every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.